Welcome back to Sky Sports Breakfast. Jay Buffer's getting ready. He's bouncing on his toes like a boxer, getting ready for this part. We're going to have a look through the stories in the morning's papers that have caught our eye. Well, one in particular. The Daily Mail have reported that Vinicius Junior, Arsenal target, of course, has stayed away from training as he negotiates possibly a new contract with Real Madrid, or maybe not, and that could open the door for Arsenal. Now, in the last hour, you were quite negative about Vinny Junior coming to Arsenal. You don't think it's going to happen for financial reasons, right?
Is it negative, though, or is it realistic?
Well, okay, no, realistic, yeah. Some people would say it's negative, but negative realism. We'll call it that, negative realism. Okay. But if it is possible, if there is a way that Arsenal can make it work financially, surely they should try and make it happen, because this is the kind of player that he'd be a game changer for Arsenal.
Yeah, listen, if it is possible, then yes, it would be a game changer. That is a statement signing. You know, that's the kind of signing that, you know, I remember, remember when Dennis Bergkamp got signed? It was exciting. Everyone was going crazy. Wow, we got Dennis Bergkamp. That would be the kind of excitement you would have around this kind of signing. But again, the realistic part is, I just don't see it happening. For someone like Vinny, to come to Arsenal, Arsenal would have to give him the better part of $800,000 a week gross.
Well, those are the rumours. What you're saying is, so he wants after tax £400,000.
He's on that now. He's on 400 grand a week. He's on 400 grand a week now, net. 400,000 euros net a week right now. Right?
Do you think he'd take a pay cut to go to Arsenal?
Pardon?
Do you think he'd take a pay cut?
Of course he's not going to take a pay cut. He's one of the best wingers in the world. And he will be looking at, and he knows he is. That's why he wants to be paid. He wants to be paid on par with Mbappe, right? And that's what happens.
He wants more than Mbappe, actually.
If he you want more, don't you? But you'll accept Mbappe numbers still. Like, you always try and get more, you know, hoping that they come and say, okay, we'll pay you the same. But when you look at that, I understand from his point of view what he's saying. He believes he's one of the best wingers in the world. He believes he's one of the most important players at Real Madrid. So I can understand that. The reason why at Arsenal, I just don't think it will happen, is because you're going to end up at Arsenal shattering your wage structure. When Declan Rice wants a new contract, you know, when people like Saliba, they want a new contract. Timber, all these players is going to want new contracts at some point. That will be the benchmark. You know, people will look at that and say, okay, well, he's worth that. He's getting paid this now. Well, I want 400 grand a week. It might be gross, but 400 grand a week gross is still going to make you one of the highest paid players in the Premier League. And that's why I don't think it will happen. But there's no doubt about it. He's a fantastic player. He's got ability. He's a winner. He's been at the biggest club in the world for many years now. You know, it's the biggest brand. I just can't see it happening. I think there's other signings out there that are financially better. Still a lot of money, but just financially better, younger as well. And I think this will be difficult for Vinny to come to the Premier League right now and adjust to the Premier League. It's not going to happen overnight, even though he is one of the best.
If he did arrive in the Premier League, last one. If he did, right, regardless of where he goes, would this be arguably the biggest signing ever in terms of a superstar coming to the Premier League? Would it be up there? You know, I mean,
it's definitely up there.
Haaland was massive.
Haaland, Bergkamp. The ones I'm thinking of, Bergkamp. That was the one. Yeah. Obviously, then I say Ozil. That was big. Aubameyang. That was big at the time.
But in the Premier League, full stop.
Obviously, that's big. The Premier League as a whole.
Yeah. Be up there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it still would be up there. Yeah, it still would be up there. I mean, in terms of Arsenal, then yeah, definitely. But yeah, in the Premier League, it would be one of the biggest. But then with that, you know, you need to come and perform, and some people come to the Premier League and find it difficult. But he's a superstar.
Okay. All right.
Would Arteta? Do you think Arteta could deal with that? By the way, yeah.
Well, that's another question, isn't it? You know,
that's the thing.
Would he? That's not the model Arsenal have been going down. So would he fit into the Arsenal way of doing things?
Every time, I mean, listen, Arteta has evolved as a manager. Obviously, now he's a winner. But every time that Arteta has come across a player with an ego, the likes of Ozil, the likes of Aubameyang, he's clashed with them. You know, someone like Vinny goes to Arsenal. He's going to Arsenal with an ego. Yeah. He's the highest paid player in the club. You know, he's going to have a long-term deal that will probably supersede Mikel Arteta's contract. You think Mikel Arteta can tell him anything? If they butt heads, you know, he's not going nowhere. You know, there's not many people that can afford them wages. So I think for Arsenal, financially, I think it's not going to happen. I think Arteta would look at that and say, as much as he's one of the best players in the world, what about his ego? What about his mentality? And then for him, I think he's going to be looking at it. He's going to want to stay at the biggest club in the world, I think. But he's just trying to get that kind of money that Mbappe's on.
We've asked you to select your dream Arsenal 11 for the new season. I presume Vinny Junior is not in it. This is your dream 11, but you think this is a realistic? Yeah,
this is my realistic dream 11. But I mean, is it a dream? They could make this happen.
Right.
Arsenal could make this happen.
A real dream.
Yeah, Stones is a free transfer. That can happen straight away. I don't know why it hasn't, to be perfectly honest. Guimaraes, yes, again, the same kind of thing. We're in talks with him, apparently. He's open to come in, apparently, and he's one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Then Barcola, he's at PSG. He's a bit part player. Kvaratskhelia is there on the left. Then there's Doué there. Dembele's there. So it's difficult for him to play week in, week out. So I think that is something that Arsenal could get done. And then Alvarez, the same thing. When you look at all these players, let's just say that's a better part of 300 million. Arsenal could go and do that. Yeah. Arsenal could go and do that, I think.
OK. Finally,
sell some players as well.
Well, they'll have to, I'm sure. Finally, with your head, not your heart, which of these new signings will actually be at Arsenal come the end of the transfer window, do you think?
I think Guimaraes will be.
That's it?
Yeah. Unfortunately. I mean,
so it was just a dream.
No, do you know what the thing is? The way Arsenal have conducted their business so far, it's been slow. It's what I expected, years ago. When you look at the teams that are making statement signing, Man City, statement. Tottenham have gone and made statement signings. They've spent a lot of money. Chelsea are spending a lot of money. I'm surprised to see Arsenal that, they're the champions. They should come out and make statement signings to say, hey, we want to regain it. We want to improve again and go again. These are the kind of signings that if Arsenal made them, you would say straight away, probably go and retain the title again. Obviously our back line has been special. That's the reason why, Arsenal won the league last year. It wasn't because of our attack. We didn't have no attackers in team of the year. They didn't score. They didn't do well enough. Yes, there was injuries with Saka. That happens sometimes. But the back line is the reason why Arsenal won the league. If you can add these players here, and these players are coming in, they're not squad players. They're coming straight in and they're starting guaranteed. And I think that's what Arsenal need.
They wanted to sign, wasn't it? They wanted to sign players that come straight in. We'll find out at the end of...
Are you happy with that, by the way?
I'm more than happy with that.
Is there anyone you would change?
Well, I'll get Vinny Junior in there.
Yeah? That's not realistic, though.
Well, it's only £800 a week. What are you talking about? Right, new measures will be introduced into English football next season to combat tactical goalkeeper injuries. The new rules have been approved for a trial by IFAB, and they'll be rolled out across the Premier League, EFL, National League and WSL. This is in order to stop incidents where goalkeeper injuries have been used to disrupt momentum, slow the game down, or create opportunities for tactical instruction. Here's how the new rules will work. If the game is stopped for a goalkeeper injury, the manager is required to nominate an outfield player to leave the pitch immediately. The nominated player is required to remain off the field for a minimum of 1 minute after the restart of play. There will be some exceptions. If a free kick is awarded for a foul on the goalkeeper and he immediately requires treatment, or if the goalkeeper and an outfield player collide and need attention, or if the goalkeeper is bleeding. Staying with transfers, one of England's World Cup stars is leaving the Premier League as John Stones has verbally agreed to join Inter Milan after his contract at Manchester City ended. Stones representatives are now set to finalise terms with Inter over a 2-year contract. He did have interest from Arsenal, Chelsea and Juventus after leaving City. Well, despite his impressive performances for England at the World Cup, Stones' minutes at club level have seriously declined over the last 2 seasons. He's played only 20 Premier League games since the start of the 2024-25 season, starting just 11 of those. Well, Stones reunites with his old City centre-back partner, Manuel Akanji, who joined Inter on a permanent deal after a season-long loan last year. All right, well, let's just start with the move for Stones himself. You've spent time in Italy, Inter Milan, great club. Do you think it's a good move for him at this stage of his career?
Listen, going to a club like Inter Milan is a massive club. Don't get me wrong, it's a very good move for him. But I'm astonished to see that, you know, Arsenal, Chelsea haven't gone from even Liverpool. Even Liverpool. Like, I'm astonished as to why he hasn't gone. I don't think it will be money, by the way. I think it is going to be injuries. Maybe it's the length of the contract that John Stones might want. But then, even then, like, Inter Milan are saying it's a 2-year deal. Maybe it's a 2-year plus one, but 2 years, I don't understand why someone like Arsenal and Chelsea wouldn't be looking at Stones like that. Because I look at John Stones and I say to myself, okay, fully fit, even now, he's still one of the best defenders out there. He's still one of the best defenders in the Premier League. He's that player that on the ball, he can pass through the lines, he can step into midfield and be comfortable. He's great on set pieces, as we can see here. I don't understand why Arsenal and Chelsea and teams like that are not wanting to sign John Stones. Arsenal especially, because they've lost Saliba. We don't know how long Saliba's going to be out, but let's just say it's 3 or 4 months. That takes you up to December. Like, someone like Stones that has a good pre-season, that comes straight into a side, is great. He's experienced. He's been there in big moments. He's played for a big club for many years. He's won things. He's a winner. He takes that experience into the squad. I don't understand why Arsenal and Chelsea and even Liverpool are not going for him.
Is it the history of injury records that puts clubs off slightly?
Yeah, but it's a free transfer. It's a free transfer. If they had to pay something for him, then, okay, I understand that part. But it's a free transfer. You're giving him wages, you know? And yeah, he's probably going to want, you know, the better part of, you know, at least 150 grand a week, maybe 200 grand a week. But he's a top defender still. He's 32 years old. He's not 36, he's 32. So he's still got a lot in the tank. I think people will look and say, yeah, but he's picked up a lot of muscle injuries. He's been out. He hasn't played much. Yeah, okay. But at the end of the day, I still would take a chance on that, John Stones, because I would look at his upside. I think it's a huge mistake from Arsenal and Chelsea, especially, but even Liverpool. But again, for John Stones, going to a club like Inter Milan, they're a fantastic club. There's a lot of history there. They play in a great San Siro. By the way, San Siro is a serious stadium. I love that.
Never been. I'd love to.
Yeah, I mean, I played in it. I was fortunate to play in it, so I was, you know, even seeing that turning up, you know, the history around everything. But
how'd you get on there?
If we won, then I would be saying it, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a great move still for Stones. Obviously, Italy's, you know, it's a great country. And there's a lot of passion there. The fans are very, very passionate. So, again, it's a good move, but I can't believe, I'm astonished to see why the likes of Arsenal and Chelsea and Liverpool, teams like that, and there's more teams as well, by the way, you know, even like, you know, Everton maybe, Newcastle, you know, there's a lot of teams out there that need someone like him, of his quality. Again, there's so much, you can play him as a defensive midfielder. There's so many options, but, you know, you always go back to and say, you know, the best ability is always availability. And, you know, he hasn't been available lately. But for me, because he's a free transfer, I would definitely take that risk on him.
Yeah, I mean, something we can discuss later in the show, but I just wonder if maybe the Everton links his old side. That's maybe why Liverpool have not gone in for him. Maybe he doesn't.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
I don't know, but we'll find that out, I'm sure, later.